The following is a Podbeard production.
From the deepest bowels of your imagination.
Actually, he's from Canada there, bud.
From the famed Hotter Show studios, this is The Hotter Show.
What is up, everybody? We are rolling audio here today on episode 208 of The Hotter Show. I hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic. Thanks so very much for tuning in and clicking that play button on today's episode of The Podcast. I don't know what the hell that was, but we're going to roll with it. How are you, my friend? You listening right now, whoever you are, whatever your name is. I personally hope you feel the connection right now of me coming through your headphones or your speakers or your stereo or your TV maybe, and feel the love that I am giving to you today. Because that is how much I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to tune into this podcast. We are going to have a lot of fun today because I have a killer episode for you here today in which I will be doing a full review / listening party, if you will, of Single Wound's brand new EP, Isolate. And it is a kick-ass EP, and you guys are going to really, really, really enjoy it. As usual with these Hotter Show music reviews, I play the song for you guys. I give my thoughts on them, tell you maybe a little bit about the band, where you can find them, and other fun little tidbits and nuggets about my opinions on music and songwriting and lyrics and what makes a truly great album or EP. I always tend to go on some kind of a random tirade where I tend to compare albums and EPs to food or something like that. Maybe I'm always hungry when I record those, but I'm not hungry tonight, so we'll see if how that turns out. But before we get into that, I want to thank everybody for their support on the last 2 episodes of The Hotter Show, as I did a 2-part interview with my dude Will from Rolls-Royce. I really hope that you guys enjoyed that. If you did not catch that either episode, I highly implore you. I don't actually know if I can say highly implore if that's grammatically correct, but I'm going to say it anyway because it's my damn show. I highly implore you to go check those out, especially on the YouTube. They were my first 2 full-length video episodes of the show in which I did the intro and outro in video as well. So it was interesting. Some people gave me some good feedback as far as things I can do to make the video look a little better. A lot of people said that my camera looked great, but there was some, the lighting was okay in that, but like they gave me some pointers, so I do seriously appreciate that. Thank you very, very much. Those of you who, if you ever have any positive reinforcement, or what's the word I'm looking for here? Critiquing of what I do, please, by all means, I want to hear from you. Let me know. I am not a professional. This is something I do for fun, but I always want to get better at this podcast game. So if there's ever something you're watching or you're listening and you're going, man, I wish he wouldn't do that, or he should do this, or whatever, I always love to hear from you guys. So hit me up right now. Like, hey man, this intro is just terrible because you're doing all these stupid little voices and you're laughing at dumb stuff. Just don't do it. Just be serious. And today on The Hotter Show, we are taking a listen to Single Wound's brand new offering. No, you're not going to get that from me. But anyway, I was talking about my dude Will from Rolls-Royce. We had a great chat. Definitely go check it out. Doing the 2-parters is something I don't do all the time anymore. There always tends to be a little bit of a drop-off for part 2. I'm not sure why that is, because if it was me, I can't stand hearing half an interview and not the other half. But hey, is what it is. You guys do you, but I do strongly suggest you guys go check that out, as it was a lot of fun. Just like today is going to be. But before I get into that, I want to make sure that if you have any kind of a concert, a sporting event, you're maybe going to go to the theater, anything at all like that, if you got something coming up that you want to go to and you need tickets for that event, you do not need to mess around with any other ticket site in the world except for my friends over at sheetgiant.ca or .com, depending on, of course, where you're at in the world. Whether you need tickets for any kind of concerts, theater events, sporting events, family events, basically, literally, guys, anything you can buy tickets online for, Seat Giant has you guys covered. They have a super easy to use website. You can go on there. You can go to the drop-down menu to search different types of events. Maybe you're like, I got a hankering to go to a concert, but I don't know who's playing. Go on there. Go on to your concert section. Maybe you want to go to a rock concert, or you want to go to a hip-hop concert, or whatever it is, whatever your forte is. Go on there. You'll see who's playing. Say you want to go see who's coming to town. I have no idea who's coming to town. Let's say Nickelback's coming to town. You want to go see Nickelback in Toronto or in New York or wherever you are listening to this podcast currently. We do have listeners all over the world, so no discrimination, depending on where you are, of course. And you want to go see Nickelback, and you're going like, okay, cool. Oh yeah, so they're coming to town on January 3rd. Oh cool, yeah. Let's see what kind of tickets they have. And they have every kind of ticket you need, whether you want to just go have fun, not spend a lot of money. They got you covered. If you want to be on the floor right up front, they also got you covered. All the prices you need to know are right there. They have a great little light up kind of map thing so you can see exactly where you're going to be sitting in adjacent to where the stage is. It's so super easy to use. Even I can figure it out, okay? And I am not the most experienced ticket buyer in the world. And the great thing about Seat Giant, aside from the fact that they are good people who truly care about the events that you are going to and want to make sure you have a good time, they do have a full money back guarantee. If there are any issues with your ticket, whether the venue does not accept them, the event is canceled, anything like that, they have a full 100% money back guarantee. All you need to do is contact them with proof that either the event was canceled or there was an issue of some kind from the venue or whatever, what have you. They will make sure you get your money back. They truly do care. They are good people, and they just want to provide you with the best experiences possible. So go on seatgiant.com or .ca today. That is seatgiant.ca or .com. And while you're there, you're at checkout, throw your boy and my friends and family over at the Podbeard Network a little love by using the promo code PODBEARD. That is PODBEARD. PODBEARD. You save yourself a little something at checkout. All you got to do is type in a few letters. Who doesn't want that? Don't mess around with any other ticket site. Go on Seat Giant today. With that out of the way, folks, we're ready to roll into this podcast here today. My review of Single Wound's brand new EP, Isolate. I'm so hyped to get into this. Let's check it out. So here we go, jumping into it here. If you guys are not familiar with who Single Wound is, if you've been longtime listeners of the show, I actually covered these guys. This was about mid last year. I did a full review of their debut EP back when they were a three-piece of their EP, The Things I Never Got to Say, which is actually still one of my favorite EPs that I've actually ever covered on the show. I don't usually like to say things like that because, some people might be like, oh, well, screw that guy. But the reality is it really struck a chord with me. It was just something that I really felt a connection to. So these guys have kind of been one of those bands that I've really, really been anticipating. Like all the bands I cover, I like, and I anticipate when they release new music and that. But when there's that real emotional connection, I can't help but really get excited when they release new music or when I get the chance to work with them again, like in this kind of a situation. And I am also hoping that I can get either one of the guys or a couple of the guys or all the guys even on the show in the near future. I'm hoping we can make that happen. We've been talking, kind of been going back and forth about that a little bit, but hopefully we can make that happen now that I'm a little more up to snuff with Skypes things and stuff like that. But if you guys are not familiar with Single Wound, they are a band from Woodbridge, Ontario, and they are self-described as kind of melodic hardcore metalcore. Definitely some different elements thrown into their music, a huge wide range of influences. It's kind of a little punk, little metal, little hardcore. There's lots of melody, lots of like real ferocious parts and things like that. And you definitely hear that on this EP. As far as band members, they've actually added a new vocalist into the fold who really brings a cool element to this EP. And I really dig the him being added to the band. But as far as the band, then I apologize again, boys, for butchering any names if I do, because I'm the worst. We, of course, have Gabriel Gimmons, I'm assuming, Cole Frank, George Alvarez, and Fernando Murga. And I'm sure I butchered a name. I apologize. The influences include Misery Signals, Counterparts, Movements, Dead and Divine, Killer Band, and The Color Morale. So definitely some... Oh, and Defeater as well. I want to make sure you shout out to Defeater. Kick-ass band. So definitely a very cool band. A wide range of influences and sounds. And Isolate is definitely one of those EPs you don't hear every day. I cover a lot of music on this show, but there's even more music that I hear that I potentially want to cover, and I don't for one reason or another. Either the band doesn't get back to me, or, in not as often the case, the band gets back to me and are kind of jerks or whatever. I don't like to talk crap or nothing, but Single Moon, one of those bands that right away they just were super cool dudes, and I definitely was very, very excited to talk about this EP. Now, I'm not going to waste any more time blabbering on and going on, because I want to get into this review and talk about the EP, because holy crap, guys. This EP was exactly what I wanted it to be. When I saw that they added a new vocalist, and I heard and saw kind of some live videos and that, I was really excited, because I was like, man, I think they're kind of going a little heavier in some spots. The Things I Never Got to Say is a killer EP, and I think it is but it's cool because you hear a little bit of like a maturity almost, if you will, because The Things I Never Got to Say was still a very, very mature sounding EP. You would not know that was their first EP. Very, very great sound. But with this, there's just songwriting, lyrics. There's just a little more. It's just a growing. And you really hear that in Isolate. And you hear that especially on the first track that we're going to hear today. This is actually the first song that they released from the EP right before they did drop it. It is a kick-ass track that we're starting off with here. This song is called Encounter. Crank it up. Let's check it out. All right, gang. So we start off the EP with something I came to really love about Single Wound off the first EP, Things I Never Got to Say. That was their kind of super melodic intros that reminded me kind of a harkling back, if you will, or heralding back, if you will, to the days of kind of that mid-2000s post-hardcore where they'd start off a song nice and kind of clean, and then they just kind of punch you right in the face, if that makes any sense. You know, beautiful clean guitars got us into a super intense song that's full of emotion, killer riff right off the bat, which I love. You know, you guys know I'm a sucker for a good riff. And we really hear, you know, Cole jump in, and I didn't know how he was going to sound on recording, kind of trading off parts. So to hear him right off the bat really bring it, I really, really dug it. You know, there's a lot of trade-offs vocally that I really, really dug, and I really enjoyed that. I'm a sucker for any kind of vocal trade-offs or any kind of harmonization, especially with heavy vocals. I feel like it doesn't get done enough. So to hear some serious heavy trade-offs, you know, it was the first single. It was the perfect blend of kind of old school Single Wound with some new elements thrown in, which really, it was the perfect first single for this EP because it showed people, hey, we're still who we are. But also, here's this new guy, and also we're kind of going in this little direction over here a bit. So I really, really dug it. I think it is the perfect intro to this EP. Now, the next song that I have to play here for you guys, another banger. This EP is full of bangers, and it is called Discord. So crank it up. Let's check it out.
Yesterday
Okay, so you know I always love me some super groovy drum intros. Super groove-oriented track, more vocal trade-offs, wicked rhythms, riffs, and hooks. What is not to like about Discord? Discord literally has everything you possibly need and kind of a, for lack of a better term, kind of post-hardcore metalcore sound. And also, while still having a very interesting and very unique structure to the way that they do things, you know, kind of, it's, you know, traditionally, you know, you get your verse, you have your intro. I mean, you know, you get your intro, your verse, chorus, maybe a pre-chorus thrown in there, verse, chorus, maybe another verse, maybe another chorus, maybe a bridge, maybe a breakdown, whatever you want to call it, and then the song's over. But Single Wound don't do that, and I really dig that, and you really hear that on Discord, which is something I really enjoyed from these guys, and it's definitely a very perfect example of that. So definitely a freaking stellar track. All right, now next up, we have a song that is literally going to knock your teeth down your goddamn throat. So get freaking ready, kids. Strap in, youngins. This song is called Insane. Let's crank it up and check it out. Holy motherfucking shit. That freaking track, man. Okay, let me tell you guys a quick story. The first time I heard that track. Okay, so I was actually at work on my I was on my day off. I was at work doing something. I was fixing a machine or whatever the hell I was doing. Got called in just for a couple hours to do something. And I'm chilling. I had my headphones on because I was off the clock. And I'm sitting there fiddling with something. And I was really frustrated. And it just so happens that Spotify pops up, oh, you know, Single Moon released a new single or whatever, because I have a notification for certain things. And I'm like, oh, Insane. Oh, kick ass. Okay, so I go. Maybe it wasn't Spotify. I don't remember how I heard it. I do not recall. Maybe it was Bandcamp. I don't know. Anyway, the point of this, the song popped up, Insane, Single Wound. I'm like, I loves me some Single Wound, man. I got to check this out right now. So picture me just sitting there. Well, actually, I was standing there, and that riff kicks in. And then it just kicks into the song, and I just am losing my mind, trying not to mosh. Because I'm like, okay, I gotta contain myself a bit. And I couldn't help it. I was like throwing the wrench around. I had, oh man, I was losing my damn mind. Super quick, straight to the jugular track. Insane really shows off all my favorite elements of Single Wound personally, which is you got kind of a wicked rhythm section where they really hold it down. Have that super kind of groovy element while still that really hard hitting bass and drums, wicked riffs that are unique and that have a very cutting tone while still having that little bit of kind of scoopy scoop. You know, that made of love it so much. And then also the vocal trade-offs, which again, I love anytime you do that, especially with heavy vocals. This track, I literally, I basically had to turn everything up to 11 because I couldn't handle it. I was just losing my mind. And then, you know, I'm driving home and I'm trying to contain myself, just moshing in my car to this song, headbanging like crazy. I couldn't help it. Every time it was over, I had to restart it. I was like, I just can't do it. I need to feel this song in my bones at all times. It's just a kick-ass song. It's a song that no matter what, I do always come back to. I thoroughly enjoy every song off this EP, but Insane is one that I continuously come back to. It's a song that gets me pumped up, and just a freaking banger of a song. Definitely a song I would show people if they're like, oh, what's up with this Single Wound band? And I did show people, and they were like, yo, that riff is like nasty. And I'm like, right? Nasty in a good way, by the way, folks. Let me just clarify that real quick. Okay, so the next song that I have here for you guys is a banger of all bangers. It's actually my favorite song on the EP by far. And that is saying something because this EP has some freaking stellar tracks on it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to play you guys the song. And then after that, right after the song, we're going to have a quick break and hear a word from my man, Mr. Jason Reese from Jay Bridges Alerts. Then I'm going to come back and give you guys the rundown of what I think of this next track that I know you guys are going to freaking love. Crank it up. Get ready. This is Burden. Let's check it out.
I know this feeling far too well. Suffocating in this hollow shell. I call my body, rotting like my heart. I decay, blowing with the wind away. So tell me how to stay awake instead of sleeping forever. My mind is in a fragile state that I cannot escape. Oh, I can't control everything that I've done. My past has no regret to the lives I've touched with my heartless intentions. Always failing to mention I have no remorse. So balancing like catharsis, to what it takes to feel complete, even if that involves all the blood that I have to bleed. I will take myself into an early grave, bury me so you can finally feel safe. So selfish and sadistic, this addiction I just can't seem to quit. The feeling of this hopelessness. How do I disappear from this? I'm consenting. I am consenting to stitch up. You
It's your guy Jaybird here from Jaybird Digital Arts, reminding you to tune in to the Hotter Show podcast. Hell, tune into all of the Podbeard Network shows, and not just because they support Jaybird, but because they're good. And I'll give you a discount on design work if you do. Beat that deal, I dare ya.
Okay, guys, we are back at it. That, of course, was my dear friend, Mr. Jason Reese. His sexy, sultry voice. Okay, so Burden. Good God almighty. That done killed him. Okay? That done killed him with that damn song. What a tasty, thick, that's with 2 C's, by the way, thick riff. If there's one thing that Burden shows off, it's the lyrical and songwriting prowess that is currently in Single Wound. Because right away, without a doubt, this song has my favorite lyric on the EP, and so far of the year, by the way. So far of the freaking year. Single Wound song Burden takes the cake just because of one line. And for those of you who know me pretty damn well, okay, you know this is one of my favorite freaking words. The fact that they threw it in there. I don't know who wrote the song, but kudos to you for even knowing this word, because it's kind of one of those words that, you know, some people know it, some people don't. But the lyric, my friends, as I'm sure some of you are already going, oh my God, I know exactly what he's going to say for my regular listeners. So validate my catharsis. Do what it takes to feel complete, even if that involves all the blood that I have to bleed. What a hard lyric. Just super hard. And throwing catharsis in there. Catharsis, excuse me. I think I just said catharsis. Throwing catharsis in there. I don't do any edits here on the show, folks. Just, it's such a hard lyric. And I love catharsis. I literally try and use that word anytime I can, and it makes me feel super smart. So kudos to whoever wrote the song. You know, I don't know if it was Cole or who it was, but kudos to Cole for singing that freaking lyric, because that is a hard lyric. This whole song, it's a super, like, just heavy, clearly very emotional song, you know, and I'm a huge fan of bands who don't necessarily, they just kind of, with me, I like lyricists that they just write how they talk or how they feel. They don't necessarily worry about rhyming or a certain structure. Oh, we're going to structure this song this way so that it makes sense. No, screw that. Just tell me a story. Tell me something. Give me something real. And that's what Burden is. Not that it isn't structured beautifully, because it is, but, you know, just even that lyric as itself is super, you know, super heavy and haunting and chilling, and just, it really gave me this very overwhelming kind of feeling where I was just like, oh man, like I had goosebumps listening to this freaking song. And the bridge, are you kidding me? What the holy hell? Literally, Cole takes on like a completely different voice for like, maybe for just a second, but he literally sounds like a completely different human being. If that was Cole, I apologize if it's not, but he goes super low, and like, I don't even know, like he still sounds like him, but I don't think throughout the rest of the EP I noticed that he kind of hit that low note again, and I was like, oh my God, it's just, it literally made me like want to like just start moshing. Super heavy. And then again, more trade-offs. I love it. You know, the guys all have very unique voices, but in that section, I did kind of have a hard time distinguishing who was who. So I apologize if it's all the same guy or if it's 2 guys or even 3. I don't even know anymore. I know that there are, I believe, the two main vocalists in the band. Obviously, Cole and Fernando, I believe. And then I apologize if I get names mixed up or anything. I'm not I'm not the smartest guy in the world. But and then I don't know if I think that live, I've seen videos of them with, all three of them doing vocals. So I'm not sure who does what specifically and who does, that one part. But good God almighty. Literally, I can't. And then, just when you think it's over, no, fuck you. The grooviest of groovy doom metal part comes in. And it's just like your soul is leaving your body. And it's just like, I can't handle this. Why are you doing this to me still? This is now 3 incredible, any of those 3 parts could have been the main awesome hooker part of a song. Okay. And they throw all 3 of those parts in one song. And it's like, what the actual hell? I can't do this. I just can't. Without a shadow of a doubt, the creme de la creme of this EP, in my extremely uneducated and humble opinion. I would love to hear your guys' thoughts as well, but holy crap. Super dark but beautifully written song, guys. Freaking kudos. As of right now, Burden is my favorite song of 2019. And I am saying that officially here on the show as of, when is this podcast going to air real quick? Hang on, let me get the actual date. With the 18th. So as of April 18th, Burden My Single Wound is my favorite song of 2019. I can't. Freaking, especially that end part there, boys. What the hell? It's kind of almost even a little proggy too. Kind of what's going on? I don't even know. I can't handle it. I can't. I'm going to freaking talk about this damn song all night if I don't move on. Again, that was Burden. Hope that you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. Now, the next song I have here for you guys as I recover from that tirade of how much I love Burden. It's another banger. Nothing but bangers right here on Isolate. This song is called Suffer.
I just wish you knew what to say.
Okay, listen, real quick. Fernando, my dude. How many, like, just tasty riffs can you fit into a single song? God damn, dude. Like, that's a talent all in itself. Just, like, a perfect example of the continued growth of Single Wound in Suffer. A little bit more fast, some blast beats parts thrown in there, because fucking why not at this point? Like, I was expecting after Burden, I kind of sort of feel like, you know, as the EP progresses, it's almost like they're showing off kind of the direction they're heading. Like, Encounter's kind of a nice balance between their old stuff and the new stuff. You know, then you get to, Discord. It's kind of a little bit more in the newer direction. Then Insane is almost like a complete departure. And then Burden is like a complete departure. And then Suffer's kind of, again, there's some old school elements of Single Wound in there. But then also it's like super blast beaty, you know, super dark lyrical content. And it's something that I've really come to expect, that almost, I say technical prowess from the guys, because I mean, the killer freaking musicianship. If you didn't already think that at this point in the EP, you definitely think that now. Holy crap. You know, rhythm section wise, freaking Single Wound absolutely slay it. Absolutely slay it. As much as I love all the tasty riffs and vocal parts, you know, the rhythm section, the guys absolutely freaking kill it. So shout outs to the guys, because they absolutely slay it on this EP. But, you know, that little spoken word tied as well, I really dug that. You know, I get the vibe that the second half of the EP is definitely a little more darker lyrical content, like Burden definitely was, Suffer definitely is, you know, and I really, really dig that. It's definitely something that closing the track out with that little kind of spoken word part is really cool. It shows off diversity. You know, that Cole isn't just a guy who can stand there and scream at you. You know, he's got some other stuff going on there. And again, you know, I'm a real sucker for great melodies and great, and that, when I say melodies, I'm not just talking like clean singing melodies, but also harsh vocal melodies. I'm a big fan of when you can really, like, I'm a huge Lamb of God fan, huge Randy Bly fan. So when you can kind of pitch your screams and fit parts in, I'm a really big fan of that. And, you know, Single Wound have always done that, but especially on this EP, they just absolutely freaking slay it. And, you know, Suffer is definitely no departure of that. So now the next song I have here for you guys is actually, unfortunately, the last track of this freaking banger of an EP. I know you guys are going to enjoy it. It is the self-titled track off Single Wound's EP, Isolate, which you guys have been enjoying here today with me. Well, hopefully you've been enjoying the EP, and maybe you haven't been so much enjoying my tirades in between the songs. But hey, if you want to just listen to the song, you know, the songs, you can go on their Bandcamp, which is this www.singlewound.bandcamp.com. Go on there, purchase the the old EP. It's a name your price, but, you know, don't be a dick. Don't give them like 50 cents. Come on, you know, pay for your music. You know, it always definitely helps the bands out. If you're, you know, you'd rather do the stream thing and then support the band another way, maybe you want to go see them or something like that, check them out on Spotify or on there's a YouTube. You can find the songs on there as well. Single Wound, go check them out. Killer band. This last song is the title track off of Isolate. This song is called Isolate. Crank it up one more time, guys. Let's check it out.
I am aware that I am nothing, but this is only temporary. This is what it's like to be no one. This is what worthless looks like. Right now, this is all I care about. I can never truly feel this form of life the way you all think. Others
Oh man, so I have said this 1,000 times. If you guys are regular listeners of my show, maybe you're not, maybe this is the first time you've even tuned in to the Hotter Show. Maybe you've tuned in a couple times, you've never heard me talk about any music in this type of format, but I say this all the time. When you name an album or an EP based off of a track, okay, that freaking track needs to, in my opinion, okay, it needs to knock it out of the park. And then it needs to run and catch that ball, throw it back, and then it needs to run and hit an absolute freaking home run again. Okay? It needs to be a culmination of everything we have heard. It needs to have every element that we've come to expect from your music, whether it's a certain style of writing or certain kind of lyrical content or whatever the case. you need to cover all your bases in the final song, especially if it is a self-titled or just a self-titled song in general. Because really, there's a reason you named the EP off of the song. And good Lord Almighty, Isolate is no exception to that rule. Lyrically speaking, it's my favorite off of the EP. Not my favorite song, but lyrically speaking, it's definitely my favorite off the EP. Really dig it. You know, I kind of find myself at a loss for words because it's a very cathartic experience listening to Isolate, the song, as well as the whole EP. You know, I sense that it was for the guys as well, and I really felt that on Isolate. There was quite a few times where I had like goosebumps, where I really feel like it was a very heavy song and a very heavy EP to make, and I would love to have the guys on sometime, or just one of the guys on or whatever, to talk about it. I think that'd be a lot of fun. I do, you know, I would love to really pick stuff out of the song, but best way for me to explain how I feel about Isolate is just how I feel about the whole EP as a whole. Because at the end of the day, Isolate is the perfect track to really emphasize what this EP is all about. And that is that it is a dark, heavy, melodic, extremely cathartic, yet beautiful listen that you will find when you listen to Isolate. You'll headbang, you're going to mosh, and you'll be lost in thought at the story that unfolds in front of you. Isolate is surely in contention for one of the best releases of 2019 at this point in the year. Hands down, 100%. Okay, in my opinion, as far as I'm concerned right now, it's the best thing I've heard in 2019 that's been released. So, who knows? It's only April. Well, this didn't come out in April. It came out a little while ago. But as of right now, that's my opinion. So, we'll just leave it at that. Keeping in mind that, you know, I am a metal guy. So, you know, is it the best EP overall in the world is it the best thing that's been released overall in the world? In my opinion, I personally think it is, because that's how much I enjoyed it. But, you know, the year is still young, so we will see. But good Lord, boys, freaking kudos to you for writing and recording and playing such kick-ass songs on such a kick-ass EP. I hope that you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. If you did, please be sure to check the guys out. You can find them on Facebook and Instagram under Single Wound Band. That is Single Wound, as in single, S-I-N-G-L, single, E, excuse me. I just messed up how to spell single. That's embarrassing. No edits, folks. Wound, W-O-U-N-D. Single Wound. Very easy. You can find them. It's actually just Single Wound, excuse me, not Single Wound Band. I wanted to double check that. Check them out. Killer band. Great dudes. And if they're coming to a area near you, check them out. I'm hoping to be able to check them out soon the next time they are remotely in my area. I'm hoping I can go see them. They actually also, I forgot to mention, they do have a video for Burden, which you guys should check out. You can see the link in their Instagram bio or on their Facebook. Go check it out. It is For Burden, which again is my favorite song on this EP. It is my pick. Killer stuff, man. Killer stuff. Shouts again to all the guys. You guys absolutely freaking slayed it. I'm not surprised you did, because I had high hopes for this EP. I really did. And I mean, it would have been a bummer if I was let down, obviously. You know, I don't talk crap here on the show about anybody when it comes to this kind of stuff, because I just don't believe in that. There's enough bullshit in the world, but like, y'all know when I'm lying, okay? I've had this before, where I'm not gonna say what. It was an old episode I did where I was praising something, and one of my regular listeners, who also is a good dear friend of mine, said, "Hey man, so you didn't like that, huh?" And I was like, "No, man, did you hear me praise it?" He's like, "You were full of shit." And I was like, "Damn, I was." So since then, I made a pledge, I guess, to never cover stuff like again that I don't fully 100% enjoy. It doesn't make for a very pleasurable experience for the listener when I'm sitting here bullshitting you guys. I don't do that. I don't like to do that, especially when it comes to music, because at the end of the day, if you are someone who maybe doesn't like to discover new music, but you're not sure how, if I can get one person to become a fan of Single Wound, I say this all the time, I will feel like I have succeeded at my goal, which my only goal here, do not get it twisted, my only goal with doing these episodes of the show, number one, they're fun for me to do. I wouldn't do them if they weren't fun. I really truly enjoy kind of doing a little pick apart of songs and figuring out what I personally like about them. I'm not a serious critiquer where I go in and, oh yes, the chord structure in the third verse. I don't do any of that shit. Okay, I don't like that, especially because I'm not a songwriter. Who the hell am I to, oh, I didn't like this song because I really felt that in the second verse, they really needed to pump the brakes on that. Like, some of these people that critique stuff, I'm just like, could you do any better, motherfucker? Probably not. I'm sure you couldn't, actually. I don't like to do that. I don't like to be negative. But it's easier, of course, when the stuff you cover is just slays. Because it makes the whole process much, much easier. Shouts again to the boys in Single Wound. Shouts to you. You, whoever you are, listening right now, thank you so very much for tuning in to today's episode of the podcast. If you are a new listener of the show, welcome to the Harder Show family, if you will. We have fun here. That's all we do. I do a lot of different stuff. If you were a fan of this podcast, you should definitely go back in the archives. I've done, 207 other shows. So you got lots of catching up to do, my friend. Lots of catching up to do. Go on. I've covered a lot of killer music on the show. A lot of fun interviews. I don't even really... I need to stop calling them interviews. I mean, technically they're interviews, but it's just me hanging out with someone, We bullshit. Like my interview I just did last week and the week before, part 1 and part 2, with Will from a great band called Rolls Royce, actually from kind of a similar area as the boys in Single Wound. We actually didn't talk about the fact that Will kind of, I guess, knew Fernando from like years before, which is really interesting. We totally didn't even talk about that on air. I guess he just saw him around and stuff, which is funny to think about how they could have maybe ended up together at some point jamming or something. That's a super group I want to freaking see, okay? So get on it, boys. Will and Fernando just riffing out together. That'd be sick. But at the end of the day, I want to support music as much as I can. I was talking earlier about, I got sidetracked as I usually do, about the main reasons I do this. And number one, if I didn't have fun, I wouldn't do it. Number two, if I can just get one person to buy the songs to listen to, or go see the band, or, even just listen to their music and spread the word, I will have felt like I have done my job. Do not get it twisted. I'm doing this for those reasons. I'm not doing this to get famous off other people's work. Okay. I know this was a long time ago that someone said that about me, but it still grinds my gears to no freaking end. Okay, because let's be honest, if I really wanted to get famous and be famous, I would be already, okay? I'm not that freaking talented, ladies and gentlemen. Let's just admit that right now. So this is something I do for fun and to hopefully get a few new eyes and ears on the bands that I cover or the stuff that I cover. That's it. Simple as it gets. But if you enjoy what I do, be sure to hit that subscribe button. It would really mean the world to me, regardless of how you are listening. If you're listening on the SoundCloud, hit the follow button, leave a like, comment, let me know what your favorite song on the EP was, because I certainly want to hear from you. If you're listening in on the iTunes, be sure to hit the subscribe button. Freaking Stitcher, Spotify, CastBox. I've been loving the Spotify app lately for podcasts. I've really been enjoying it. I kind of go back and forth, but I really dig the Spotify. I mean, I do for music too, don't get me wrong, but I love what they're kind of doing with the podcast. There's a lot of great stuff on there, so shout out to Spotify. And, if you're listening on the YouTube, thank you very much, because I know that I'm sure if you're watching, you've been watching a single picture for the last little while. So you're a trooper. Thank you very much for that. I will be, doing more video content. As I've said in the past, every podcast is not necessarily going to be video. Just depends on what's going on that week. It depends on if I have something I feel I want to video, or if it's an interview I can video, I certainly will. If not, you're going to get a picture, but I'm going to throw it up on the YouTube anyway, just to be consistent. As I said I would, and I do know that there is at least one of my regular listeners now who does listen on the YouTube just for their own ease of listening. So I'm only really doing it for one person, for sure. That's terrible. I shouldn't say that. But shouts to that person. They know who they are. My dude. I know you're listening right now. I love you. Thank you very much. And I love you. Thank you so very much for listening. And be sure to follow The Hodder Show on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, all under The Hodder Show. That is the THE, if you're not sure how to spell the or the Hodder Show. HODDER Show. SHOW. Just in case you couldn't figure out how to spell. And I'm going on tirades, and I'm going all over the goddamn place. So I'm going to sign off here. Sure to hit that subscribe button, the follow button. Check out Single Wound. Check out The Hodder Show on Facebook, as well as check out Podbeard Network. The website hopefully will be back up this time next week with a fresh coat of paint. Very, very excited about that. And I will catch you next time on The Hodder Show.